Hiya, it's me, Joanna Page. Now, I've never really needed an excuse to talk before, and so I have decided to do my very own podcast. Just me, on my own, chatting away to all of you. And I do hope, actually, that you will chat back to me. I want you to phone me. I want to know what you're up to. I want to know your stories. I want to know what's going on in your life. So it's going to be sort of like a two-way thing. A bit of what I'm up to and a bit of what you're up to. Even though I talk all the time, this is the first time I have ever actually done my own podcast, just me. This is kind of half a bit like therapy and half as if I'm still in a dream or something. I'm going to be telling you all about my week, all about Swansea, to playing Stacey, to all sorts of bits and bobs and everything in between. Basically, this is me. Oh my God, how you're coping with the lead up to Christmas. I mean, what's going on in your house? How are you coping with school? It just seems like there is just so much on at the moment. Everything for me, right, is quite full on. I don't know if you know, but in September, I brought out my memoir. Now, I'm assuming that quite a few of you listeners do know, because can I just say how absolutely gorgeous it's been for all of you. Like, well, loads of you have come to watch me when I've been going around doing my book chats. The weird thing about doing like a memoir is that you end up, you know, like it's sort of like therapy because it's all about your life and everything that you've been through. And you write the book and then you have to start going out there and, you know, talking about it and stuff. But the nicest bit that I found is when you go around to different, you know, theatres or different schools or different, you know, places, and you sit down, you invite your audience who are the people that you're talking to and who, you know, have got an interest in you and who you're on the same like level with. And I've been going to all these different places, sitting down, chatting about my life, my book. But my most favourite bit is when you, the audience, get to ask me questions. And I cannot believe how many of you who have come to listen to me talking about my book have asked me all about my sandals. My smelly sandals, which I think have kind of gone down slightly in my podcast history. And I'm surprised that quite a lot of you are still thinking about them and asking about them. But I would like you to know that I am still wearing my sandals every day now as my slippers. I did contemplate the other day when I was going and starting doing my Christmas shopping this is just like the usual thing. I don't know if you feel the same, but I did go out to do my Christmas shopping and I ended up just finding stuff for myself. I mean, I was going out to find stuff for Mum and Dad. I want to get them done early, just get stuff for Mum and Dad and James. And I found that all I was really doing was finding stuff for myself. And I found these gorgeous slippers. But then I debated over whether or not to get them because, I mean, am I going to wear them to take the bins out? Am I going to wear them outside if they're really nice and soft? And then I just thought to myself, well, what are you playing at? You've got your sandals. They've lasted you this long. So I didn't end up going for them. But anyway, for those of you who have been asking, who've come round to listen to me doing my book, and you've asked me if I'm doing my own podcast, well, here it is. So, I'm going to tell you a bit about what I've been up to during the week because it's been really busy because I'm doing a show at the moment for the BBC and it's called Shift the Thrift. And it's right up my street. I think it'll be right up yours as well. Oh my God, it's so good. It's been so much fun. But also it's really exhausting because it's all about, I go to like different towns all around the UK. I mean, we've been to Hebden Bridge, Harrogate. Where else have we been? Can't remember. Where was the first one? Oh, Midsummer Norton. It's all been brilliant. But last week we hit Wales. And it was full on. We went to Bridgend one day. The next day, that evening, we drove 2.5 hours to get all the way up to Aberystwyth. And I'd not been to Aberystwyth since, last time I was there, I was 16. And the day after that, we went to Abergavenny. So in the show, I've got 2 contestants and I give each of them £100. Then they've got 2 experts each who really like charity shops and upcycling stuff and, you know, finding bargains and things like that. And then we go to a town and then they run around for a whole hour, going around all the charity shops, seeing if they can spend their £100 on up to 10 items from the shops, and then they've got to upcycle one item. Well, now, we've been doing this since September, and it's been brilliant, brilliant fun. And then we hit Wales, and oh my God, it went absolutely ballistic. During this, as I said, I went up to Aberystwyth, and I'd not been there since I was 16. I went there when I was doing the National Youth Theatre of Wales, and it was the first time I'd ever been away from home. And I was in a halls of residence, just dumped there with a load of other boys and girls around about the age 16, 17, 18. And I'd never even really kissed anybody before. Well, I'm saying I'd never even kissed. I hadn't kissed anybody before. I'd had no experience with boys. I mean, I went to an all-girls school from like the age of 12 to 16. So suddenly, you know, being dropped in the middle of Aberystwyth with the opposite sex and being allowed to live there on my own without parents for a whole month. Oh my God, it was incredible. And going back there last week as a 48-year-old woman and suddenly walking around this little town that just, oh my God, it brought back so many memories. It was amazing. I remember when we were there, I started going out with this boy who was 18 and I was 16, and I was so over the moon because I thought it was like, oh my God, I thought it was like really, really amazing. And then also that summer was the first time I'd ever had Chinese food as well. I mean, it all happened in one evening. I kissed someone for the first time one evening, and I also tried Chinese food for the same time, for the first time that evening. And it really was quite amazing. And I used to go to this pub called The Bear in Aberystwyth, and I would find that 5 Taboo and lemonades would just get the job sorted. I would be nicely drunk and I would be able to enjoy the rest of the evening. And that was the summer that I discovered dolphins, Taboo and lemonade, and first love. And so visiting Aberystwyth for the second time last week was incredible. But the end of the week did take a bit of a turn, because with this show, I am meeting loads and loads and loads of people. I mean, I'm in the charity shops and, I'm going through everything and, all sorts of different clothing and bits and bobs, and I'm trying stuff on. And also we're upcycling stuff. So I might see, some towels or curtains, and I'm wrapping them around myself and thinking, how could I turn this into a jacket or a skirt or something? And also I've been hugging like loads and loads and loads of people. And I was starting to get really quite smug and pleased with myself, because I am the only one so far on the job that hasn't come down with anything. I mean, our director, Tom, had to take, I think it was about 5 Imodium last week because he had a really, really jippy stomach. And people have had colds and they've had coughs, and I haven't had anything yet. But I came back home from filming. Well, I went back into the hotel after a very, very heavy evening of filming. And I was just getting ready to get changed, to get into bed. I glanced down and in between my bosoms, on my chest, right slap bang in the middle, I've diagnosed myself, but I looked at it on the internet and I swear to God, I've caught ringworm. Now, it wasn't scabby, but it was ringworm. And I'm meeting loads of people, I'm hugging loads of people, I've been holding all sorts of towels and clothes and everything. But I got to be honest, when you get back home from filming and you're absolutely knackered and you just want to, sit down and have a glass of wine and some food, the last thing you expect to see when you look down at your chest is some flipping ringworm. So it was like this round, red, like ring, and then the inside, I don't know if you've ever had ringworm. I'm imagining if you have children like me. I mean, it's not the first time we've had ringworm in the house. The children have had it before because it is actually quite easy to pick up. But it's not the first thing you expect to see when you've been filming all day and you look down. So I had a bit of a panic about that, and I didn't really want to touch it or touch myself in case I ended up spreading it everywhere. But I ended up getting some cream, keeping it to myself, and I think now, I've had the cream on for a couple of days, and I think now I've managed to clear it up a bit. So that is quite good, because I don't want to go into the next bit of filming now this week still carrying ringworm with me and spreading it around to everyone. It's stressful enough as it is. When I came back, and I couldn't quite believe this right after filming, Because I'd only been away solidly for a week, and I've been on and off having to go away from the house and then coming back. But last week I was like solidly away for a week. And I came back home and I couldn't believe how feral everyone and everything had got. I walked in and the house was tidy and the house was clean, but no human or animal in there was. I think they'd have put, they put so much energy on cleaning the house to make it good for me that everyone had neglected to clean themselves. Bo looked like she was starring in the musical Annie. She had a knot at the back of her head, which was about the size of a large mouse, and it looked like it hadn't been brushed the entire week that I was away. I have no idea what they were all eating, but there was a huge change in everyone's attitude as well. Everybody sort of like had attitude. Bo was feral. She was feral, and I don't think she'd been washed in a week. She was perfectly happy. Oh my God, that's quite awful, isn't it? Because they were incredibly happy. So without me there for a week and with no washing and with God only knows what they were eating, he was feeding them well, but everybody seemed quite happy. But it was the happiest that I had seen them for a while, probably because they were free and abandoned. But do you find that? You know, when you go away and you've got to leave your partner or your husband and they take over, remember that bit in Sex and the City where Charlotte says to Harry, you are doing the bare minimum. When he's like, oh my God, I can't cope with it. I can't cope. I'm so tired. I'm doing everything. And she's like, no, you are doing the bare minimum of what women or, the primary caregiver do every single day on top of working and doing everything else. Because I got back and James was just, saying how exhausted he was and it was so exhausting and stressful and whatever. And then everything, as soon as you walk back in through the door, everything is just dumped straight back on you again, isn't it? Which is quite nice, but also Noah got ill straight away. So I had 2 days off before I've got to go back now and carry on filming. I've only got 2 more weeks left to get through. And believe me, I'm desperately trying to get through it. Have any of you got any tips on how you can get through stuff when you're exhausted, you're tired, the kids are missing you, and you really are, you're at your limit and you're exhausted? But everything was dumped on me, and poor Noah, he's been so ill. There's been this virus going around, and I spent my 1 day off just sort of mopping up sick. It's always like that, isn't it? When you've got time off and you've eventually stopped the working, somebody always comes down sick. It's not been me yet. I'm waiting for that to hit me at Christmas time. So I was trying to look after Noah and clean up all of the sick, and I've never been so vigilant about washing hands because I thought, my good God, if I get this now, I can't get this. It'll be a write-off. And at the same time, I'm trying to struggle and go, right, okay, I've got to start buying the Christmas presents as well. Because James has decided he's bought 2 presents, and he thinks now that that's enough for basically everyone. He thinks that if he's bought something, then that, he doesn't have to do anything else. So he's bought 2, so that means it's okay. And then I have to then go and get all of the rest. Do you find that as well? Do you do it like half and half? The thing is, I would like to do the Christmas shopping and the wrapping half and half, but I don't trust that he will do it the way that I want it to be done. And that's why I then have to take over and do it all myself. If I gave him the responsibility, I think he probably would be able to do it, and he'd be able to wrap all of it. But there's just that niggling thing where I think, no, I'm not going to leave him with the responsibility because he's going to wrap somebody's wrong. He's not going to know. He's not going to have the themed wrapping paper. No, I can't trust him to do it. So I'm taking on board all of that myself as well. So I now have some questions from listeners, which I'm very excited about. Right, are you ready? Let's go.
Hi, Joanna. My name's Emma. I'm 27 from London. And I have a question for you about what your Gavin and Stacey equivalent is. So what I mean by that is I absolutely love Gavin and Stacey and have ever since I can remember. At any point in my life, be it a high time or a low time, when I need a laugh, when I need a hug, Gavin and Stacey is always there. And it's something I can watch with friends and family alike. It's just a collective programme that we all share this same feeling over. And I wonder if there was something similar for you when you were growing up in your teens and early 20s. I'd love to know. Thanks so much. Bye now.
Oh, thank you for that question. Oh my gosh, right. I would say when I was growing up, my Gavin and Stacey equivalent probably would have been Friends. And I know it's like different these days and it might have aged, you know, like differently or whatever. But when I was growing up, I remember watching Cheers. And Cheers was brilliant. And it was all in the pub and everything. I used to watch it with my parents. And when that finished, I remember Mum saying to me, oh my God, there's this new show which is starting called Friends. Why don't we give it a go? And literally from the very first moment of watching it, we became completely addicted and just hooked into it. We just loved it. And I find now, and we just, you know, we watched it loads and loads and loads when I was younger. But I find now, if I'm like flicking through the telly, or if I'm, you know, like even scrolling on my phone and clips come up, or, you know, it's the sort of thing like with Gavin and Stacey, you know, that you can be going across the TV and suddenly an episode comes on and it's halfway through it and you go, oh my God, it's the one where, you know, Pete and Dawn's mother is behind the bar and she's fallen asleep, or, oh my God, it's the one where Pete discovers a body and where you know, what's his name, Mick discovers a body, or I'm like that with Friends. So you'll go, oh my God, it's the one where, you know, the first one where Rachel's in the wedding dress. Oh my God, it's the one where Ben starts talking, or that's, you know, I'm very much like that. And you can just pick it up from any moment of the episode and go boom and just get straight in there and just watch it over and over and over, and it never ever gets boring. But then also when I was growing up, I used to like read it, like go-to ones would be, my other favourite one is The Bridge. Now that is like a murder sort of thriller mystery, and you know, it's quite dark, it's subtitled, and that is one that I will go back to again and again and again, because sometimes when I'm feeling down and I do need a laugh, or I need to like sort of shake myself, sometimes it's really good to get into something where I have to concentrate on it, where I'm not sort of like laughing away and throwing it away. It sort of just forces my brain into something else. And The Bridge is really good. It's got Saga Nareng. If anybody's watched it, you'll know exactly what I think. She's tall, she wears that leather jacket, she's got long blonde hair. She doesn't give a shit. She's brilliant, she's absolutely solid. She's got big boots on, she is a police detective. And after watching that, my God, I felt absolutely solid and strong and amazing. And that is one that I go back to all the time. Also, Schitt's Creek. Oh my God, just dipping into that. Schitt's Creek. So I either like to go with something funny like Friends or Schitt's Creek, or I like to get right in there with something like The Bridge. Oh, let's have another one.
Hey, Joanna Page. Huge fan of the podcast, and of course Gavin and Stacey too. Just want to know, what did you think happened on that fishing trip?
Well, Ruth and James have never ever told us what happened on the fishing trip. They said, look, it's up to you guys to use your own imagination and think about it. And there was one time when we did film something. Both Robs were in really dodgy wigs and sort of like, you know, early 80s gear. And I think it's at the end of the documentary, they show you the stuff that we filmed, which we never ended up using. And the camera sort of falls to the side and then there's loads of chanting and it's all just a bit weird. And I think actually that nothing, you know, probably nothing too bad really happened. But because they left it all up to our own imagination, we've all kind of been a bit too embarrassed to say to each other what we think it is. Because inevitably, I've always thought it's something sexual, which is just, and then I've always been too embarrassed to say what I think it is. But if I had to give an answer, I think it was something quite dodgy, borderline sexual, something a bit weird and something embarrassing. But yeah, we will never, ever, ever find out what it is. Oh, that was a big one, wasn't it? Well, I really enjoyed myself there. I think I feel like I've had a bit of therapy. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Same time next week. I'll see you all then. Bye.